All right. Hello. Welcome back. I have a big flumpy sweater on. Hey, everybody. Donna here. Hello, artists and oracles. How are you? Welcome back to my channel. It has been quite a while again. Last time I did a video, I said I'm back, I'm coming back, and then I disappeared for a couple months. I do apologize. Guess why I'm back this evening? And I haven't been far. Even though I haven't been posting, I am following tarot tubers all the time. I try to keep abreast of, channels that I subscribe to. I can't do all of them, obviously, but there are many people that I subscribe to that I love, and I try to stay on top. You guys are amazing, posting all the time. There's all kinds of things going on, so I want to start right there and say that I'm with you, even though you may not hear from me for long periods of time, but I am with this community. I love this community. I've been here for about 3 years or so now, maybe a little longer. So I'm going to just start right there. Even when I'm quiet, I'm around. I'm watching. I'm taking it all in. I have a heart rock in my hand and a match, and I'm going to attempt to light a candle because I have a bunch of things to say tonight, and I want to create sacred space right now before we get started so that I can really speak from my heart to all of you. So here we go. Let's hope the match doesn't break, because these are flimsy matches and they often just snap. Let's see what kind of, there it goes. Luckily I have a second match here. Say a prayer. Here we go. Okay, that one broke too. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. We're gonna create sacred space. This is an apt metaphor for really kind of what's been going on, in the community. There's been some intense discussions. And in the end, it's all good. And I tried to stay out of it. And now I'm gonna add my voice. Because I do have things to say, and I care very much about all of you. And I care very much about tarot and oracle as a creative discipline and as a spiritual discipline. And I'm here because I want to talk about how they merge. That's the whole point of my channel. That's the whole point of the name Artists and Oracle, is to really explore together what does it mean to walk an artistic path while also walking the path of the oracle. These are two powerful and sacred paths to walk on this planet at this time. They are not easy paths. They are not easy paths. And this is not an easy time on the planet. So let's start right there. Let's start right there and take a deep breath. I'm going to close my matches, gather up my frayed bits of wood, make a little pile. So mainly what motivated me to get my ass in this chair tonight and figure out my little fancy setup here that I got and then never used. So I got this tripod. I hope this is going to work and I'm going to be able to upload it easily. Say a prayer for that. Is I came home today from a day out and I flipped on TarotTube and said, what's going on? Let's see what I want to watch. And what did I find? A post by Benebell Wen. I thought, oh, that looks interesting. Let me take a look at that. And I began to watch and listen. And I was just so moved and drawn in. And so I watched the whole thing, and when it ended, I was in tears. It was beautiful, it was bold, it was brave, and it was sad in many ways to me. And so I took a break and a breath, and I watched it again, and I took notes. And as I began to take notes, I said, I want to speak to this, okay? So I have notes, and I may just read from them. I may just completely read to you, but the point is to speak, to be here, to add my voice to the conversation, because I really do appreciate you all so much. Those of you who post regularly, like I'm just in awe of, like, how do you do that and do all the rest of your lives and make it look good and edit, and it's just, whoa, and stay on top of tarot decks and all the things. You guys are awesome, okay? So Benebell started out by, so it's the Benebell post today. Today's what, the 3rd of May, 2023. And it's called Reading Your Critiques. And so she shows a whole bunch of critiques that she's gotten online over a period of time, I would imagine, and dives into a whole bunch of topics. And she starts out by saying that it's all about discourse. And so I want to follow that same thread. I want to talk about how it is that we have discourse in this community or any community, again, at this time on the planet, as humans living around the world in different countries and different cultures, coming from all kinds of different backgrounds, all kinds of different education, economic opportunities. We are a very diverse people here on this planet. Let us remember that. Let us remember that. And I know most everybody here, we are super sensitive to that. We are trying to be inclusive. And that's, we're trying. You know, we're all doing the best we can. We're trying to be a community. And it's not easy. It's messy. And it's complicated. And in many ways, this was something I thought I would say at the end of the video, but let's start here right now. I feel, as I've watched some of the disagreements and debates and things going on recently about, you know, capitalism and tarot and collecting and fairness of pricing of decks, you know, this, you guys know, right? There's a whole bunch of videos. You know what I'm talking about here. I can't begin to quote everybody, this video, that video. I'm going to try to focus on Benebell's today. But that whole thing, I feel like in many ways what we're not talking about, the elephant in the room in a lot of these videos, is that there is just so much fighting by our leaders right now. It's in the air everywhere. If you're trying to keep abreast of anything political, whether it's on a national level in your country, even a local level, climate change, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of fighting, and there's a lot of anxiety. And so I feel like we need to be really mindful that that's in our community too. You know what I mean? Like we are not really separate from that. That may be underneath all of what we're trying to discuss, is that we're anxious right now. There are a lot of unfair things going on. There are a lot of frightening things going on every day. Let's just be real, right? Let's just admit that. And what I'm so concerned about and why I'm making this video is that I'm really scared. And I'm not, yeah, okay, I'm scared. I'm really scared that we don't realize that we're starting to turn on each other, right? And we're human, this happens, but like, let's just, let's take a breath. And let's realize that we are a community. And if you feel that you're a part of this community, then you're part of this community. And I've realized recently that I think a lot of why I was just sort of sitting back or whatever, I'm like, well, I don't really want to get involved in that, you know, like this seems like an ongoing thing, and that's not, you know, I don't know, I'm kind of a newbie, or, oh, I don't want to get my hands in the muck with that. But, you know, to be a community, as Benebell said multiple times, especially towards the end of her video, means you keep trying to show up. And I wanted to start right there and give you so much credit for that, Benebell. I think that's so awesome. Okay, so there's my initial rant. Now, I also want to say this. I don't know Benebell, period, okay? I subscribe to her channel. I've watched some of her videos. She's got a ton of videos. I don't even pretend to have watched anywhere near half of them. The ones I've watched, I've enjoyed very much. I don't own Benebell's book. I'm going to talk about that more as the video goes on. I don't own her deck, okay? So I'm not like I'm not a groupie, and it's not, I'm certainly not on the other side either, but I just feel the need to address her video today. So I find that kind of funny and ironic that I'm not even someone that's versed in her material. I know that she's well respected in this community, and I certainly do respect her work. I've certainly seen her book. I've seen her deck around. her book, okay, I was going to save the story for the end, but I think it's just, for whatever reason, it's irrelevant. I'm going to tell you at the start. When I first started to really get into tarot about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago or so, I saw this book called, isn't it called Holistic Tarot? Oh my God, I don't even know that. It's like Holistic Tarot, right? And I thought, I have to have that book. That's me. I'm holistic everything, and that's what I need. I want a holistic approach to tarot. And then I don't know, I looked at it online and I was intimidated by it. This is not a critique. This is not, oh my God, I can't believe I'm starting this way. Okay, I'm keeping it real. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to crack myself up. It's totally not a critique of Benebell. It's totally on me. I am owning that. I wanted that book. Can you see some of the books behind me? There's a wall of books behind me. Okay, I love books. I'm not easily intimidated by books. But for whatever reason, I just decided I better not start there. It's too big and too amazing of a book. I'll start somewhere else. So I started with Rachel Pollack. Okay, no lightweight either, obviously, right? Anyway, it's so funny to me that if this makes it up, I'm going to take this time and speak to all these issues about Benebell, whose book I haven't even bothered to buy yet, and whose deck I'm not quite ready for that one either, even though I have many decks. Okay, you guys, I have many decks. I've been deep diving with tarot for the past 3 years and gone way overboard, like many of you have confessed to have done with your deck buying. Okay, so anyway, I'm trying to keep it light and also be super deep. This is my whole point. So I watched this with great interest, all these things that Benebell had to say. I'm going to have to do glasses on, glasses off. That's just the way it is. Okay, so one of the first critiques she mentioned was tarot. Somebody was making a critique of her deck and said, it's not really a tarot, it's a tarot. Okay, that cracked me up because I've actually never heard that term, and I love that term. And to me, that's a total compliment because every tarot deck is also an oracle deck. That's a great sounding, funny word. And actually, it kind of sounds like Torah too, which is like a holy book. Okay, so that's not a critique. That's awesome that somebody called your deck a Torah. So that's fun. And I like it because it's kind of, I'm into collage. And so it's very collagey. Tarot and oracle mushed together. Love it. Okay. Then someone mentioned she's a knowledgeable opportunist. And I thought, aren't we all in some way or another? Like, how is, like, whatever. I don't know. Like, I just kind of cracked me up too. Like, I wish somebody would call me a knowledgeable opportunist. Why the hell not? Okay. Then she had lots of discussion about, a big theme for her seemed to be that she tries very hard not to come across as pretentious or condescending or elitist, but yet time and time again, these are the critiques that are hurled at her, in the public sphere. And she mentioned how, it's really hard for herself to hear herself speak. And when she said that, it reminded me of, I'm sure many of you have heard this. There are lots of well-known actors who feel the same way. They don't watch their own movies. They don't watch their own shows back. They can't stand to hear their own voice. And when you hear them say that, you think, wow. So anyway, that's just an offering that for many of us who perform and put things out there, it's very hard to watch it back and to do the editing process. And I thought that was really honest and brave of her to say that. And it's just something, again, for all of us to keep in mind when we sit down in the comfort of our own homes and take in a little tarot tube video, and then we begin to be like, super critical. Like, why didn't she edit that out? And wow, like, because it's not easy. It's a lot of work and we're all busy. Okay, so anyway, enough about that. Moving on. She talked about how she's aware that she's super privileged and she tries hard to give back. And I think that's great. That's super insightful. And I thought it was really great that she mentioned that. But that she's just kind of ongoing confused by, getting all this criticism about being money grubbing and elitist and all these kinds of things. And, whatever, again, I don't know her that well, and I'm not trying to speak to the details so much. I found a lot of what she said so interesting, and then I want to like bring it out into more of a cultural context, because something to know about me, I don't know if I've said this before on my channel, but I think of myself as an anthropologist in a lot of ways. I mean, I did a double major in behavioral science and theater as an undergrad, and I loved anthro, and I took a whole bunch of anthro courses. And I see in myself as I get older that, like, that's often the perspective I bring. If I'm not looking kind of through like a theater lens, a comedy tragedy lens, which I am looking for this particular topic that I'm talking to you about, but I like to bring the cultural in, because I just feel like it's so often missing. Really well-intentioned people that we are everywhere on this planet, we forget how very diverse we are, and how, especially here in the US, we're this big hodgepodge melting pot. I live in New York. I live in the not that far from New York City, one of the biggest melting pots in the world. We are like all these tribes and races. Many people moved all around the globe, disconnected from their homeland, from their ancestors, and yet we're thrown together, and somehow we have to get along. And if we would just kind of remember that more, that, like, we're all doing the best we can here. Our lives have been, uprooted in so many ways. We've had to assimilate here and assimilate there. And, in many ways we're alike. We're all humans. But where we come from can be very different, So anyway, I don't know. I got lost in that whole rant. I hope you got something out of that. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try to entertain you and get you to think. And I'm going to keep going because I have like several pages of notes here. And already we're at 16 minutes. Okay. So, but, she talked about being confused by, all the comments about the money and stuff like that. And I so felt that, because I'm super sensitive to that. I feel that in my own life in a lot of personal ways. If you're someone that has a certain level of means and you're at all self-aware, and certainly if you add being super sensitive on top of that, which I would argue pretty much everybody in this community is, and that's the topic I'm going to get to, you feel these things, and you're trying to be kind, you're trying to be generous, but if we all have our little hot topics, that can be a hard one. That's a hard one for me too. I am super generous with friends, with charities, with all kinds of things, with my time, with my community, and yet it can feel like it's never enough. And what is that really about? She seemed to be asking at the end of the video. And so I would offer this. I think at its root, it's just about capitalism and the fall of capitalism that hopefully we are witnessing right now. Capitalism on the ground, dying a disgusting death as humanity realizes, yeah, that was a great little idea, but it really never fucking worked. And it's really screwed up the planet, and it's screwed up humanity in a lot of ways. And we're all suffering from it, and we're all watching it. We're all like rubbernecking as we try to drive on by down the highway and get on with our lives. But capitalism, and we're all part of it too. That's the thing. It's like we all think it's the enemy, and we like to take shots at it, and we like to project it onto everybody else. So that's really what I'm trying to say. And a bunch of people seem to say that in the comments, that people are projecting on you. They're jealous, or they're dissatisfied, or their lives are shit, or whatever. And so they just hurl it at you. And because you're kind and loving and willing to self-reflect and sensitive, you're feeling it. And I'm just here to say I feel it too. And again, let's be mindful of, like, capitalism. Yeah, it sucks. And yet we're all part of it, unless we're living in a tent. And you might have guessed, I don't live in a tent, okay? If we're living off grid, growing our own veg and making our own medicine, we are part of that system. We are beholden to it. We both love and hate it. We're feeding it, and we're praying for it to die any day now, many of us, okay? So to me, that's what that's all about. Moving on. Okay, let's see. Blah, blah, blah. People will still bitch and take shots at you, but you will feel stronger in yourself. Yeah, she talked about a lot about trying to, balance giving out, you know, free content, but also, of course, having to have some things that she makes that she gets paid for. Absolutely. And it's a tricky balance. It's a tricky balance. And anybody who works, runs a business, anything, does anything spiritual, any kind of spiritual energy work with people, it's the great dilemma, you know? How much should I give away for free? And how much should I be able to charge? That's a tough one. But there has to be balance, and it's a person's choice, and really none of us should be judging other people for that. That's not helpful, I don't think. So anyway, that's enough on that. Okay, then she mentioned demons and possession. I'd like to speak to this demons and possession stuff. What do I want to say about this? I will say that, I'll start right here. I am someone, I am a certified feng shui and space clearing practitioner. I'm certified by Denise Lin of Hay House fame and several of her master teachers. I spent about a decade studying that field and working in that field, creating my own business and going into people's homes and helping them with the energy of their homes. So I will start right there. And if that sounds elitist or pretentious, do with it what you will. That's the truth of who I am. So know that about me. Okay, so I know a little something about energy and demons and stuff like that. And it's something that I don't do that work anymore. It was a little too hard on my very sensitive physical body. But I still am very aware of it and study it and practice it in my own home. And I'm actually taking a really great class right now on that topic of light and shadow with two very dear colleagues and friends of mine who I also study with. Like, I'm an ongoing student and I'm learning a lot. And so when she started talking about this, it really triggered my my ears right now. And here's what I want to say. First of all, I'll be serious, then I'll come back. There's a joke in here too. Let me be serious first. So demonic energy is really very misunderstood by most Western cultures, in my opinion. It's completely misunderstood, and it's Hollywoodized left and right. People we don't understand our own energy bodies in so many ways. And it's not our fault. We are not taught this, okay? So those of us who are brave enough to wade into the spiritual fields and self-teach and take courses and study, right? We're trying. But yet it's still a very misunderstood topic. Why? Well, because it's so freaking scary. There's so much history around it. But here's the bottom line for me. Most of what we think of as demonic energy is generated by living people. It's generated by us. It's us. We don't understand. It comes from not understanding the power that we have within our own bodies and our own emotions. We don't understand our own psychology. We are taught by our cultures to suppress emotions, to do things we shouldn't have to do, to fit certain molds, especially those of us who are artists and spiritual sensitive types. You know, we have to have day jobs, we have to pay bills, and it's hard on us. It's hard on us energetically, physically, and that can create demonic energy that we throw on other people, that we throw out into the world. We can haunt our own homes. We can possess our own homes. We don't understand how to take care of the energy of our homes, of our families, of our communities. We don't understand how to read the energy of people we elect to really important positions, like President of the United States, to read their energy and understand who they are before we give them a great power like that. So, demonic energy. I could say much more about that, but that's enough. And no, Benebell Wen is not demonic, and neither am I. And there you have it. And then she made a little joke about, she doesn't think she's, she said, I don't think I'm possessed, and I also don't, I don't think I'm some great guru. I'm not even a vegetarian. I like steak. I'm not even a vegetarian either, and I really like steak. And I am an O positive blood type, and I need red meat. So there you go. Okay, moving on. Okay, There's a whole section on social media. It starts at 7 minutes, 50 seconds and goes until 10 minutes and 45 seconds. I highly recommend listening to that because I thought that was so brilliant, that section. She talked about 2D space versus 3D space and what we have to do as content creators, YouTube people makers, whatever, you know, we have to make content in 2D and yet make, you know, it's watched in 3D. And there were so many things in there. I'm just read you what I wrote. I'm getting a little wound up and lost here. I feel it's the most important part of her message. Be mindful that no one can come across as totally real on your screen, she said to us. I totally agree. Because they're not sitting in their living room, folks. You know, I'm sitting here in my office. You're not here with me. You know, I'm not going to be totally real to you. I can try to be real and funny and cool and pissy and whatever, but like, this is not me. You can't touch me, okay? This is just a 2D thing that I'm going to send out to you. We have to be mindful of what is real, which dimension we're in, which dimension other people are in that we're watching, right? It's such an important point. And then she talked about how we all do this on social media. We cultivate and curate an image of ourselves that we want the world to see. Of course, we all do this. If you have an Instagram account, a Facebook page, whatever, right? Like most people, you know, we want to look good on there. We don't want to look like we're perimenopausal and we had a really shit night of sleep and, you know, we're just dragging our butts around all day and debating about should I take a shower today or not. No, those aren't usually the days that I make a video for you, okay? It's usually the days where my hair is clean, I got a cute little outfit on, I got some energy to spare. And so, you know, remember that. Like 2D versus 3D. It was such a good point. And right, to those of us who are self-aware, no, it's not entirely real. You're never gonna, I don't claim to, that's why I made a point to say up front, I don't know Benebell. I've watched some of her videos. I don't own her book. I don't claim to know her at all, although I would love to know you, Benebell. I would love, today I sat and watched your video and I thought, oh, I wish I could call her up and say, get over here and have tea with me. You know, this is how I do it with my girls. Like, come over here, you're having a bad day. Come over here, I'll make you tea. I'll put something in the oven. I'll bake brownies. Come over, what's going on? Just remember that because it's so funny, this medium. Like, there's a whole bunch of you and I feel like, oh, I know that person. I watched a bunch of their videos. No, I don't know you. I've never been to your house. Never been to a seminar that you've taught. You know, I can't pretend to know you. Don't really know you. So be careful of that. What else did she say about social media? And she talked about how much, you know, you have to really heavily edit things and curate things just to survive on social media. That I really valued that because, again, I have resisted doing that because a part of me knows, like, yeah, if you want a really good channel, the channels that you really enjoy watching, Donna, you're going to have to put more into it. And then there's this lazy part of me is like, I don't have time. I can't do that. I want to just be able to turn on the camera like I am right now and chat for 28 minutes and hope that it comes out great and then throw it up there because that's good enough, you know? Anyway, it's not that it doesn't always work like that. I'm hoping it will tonight, but, you know, it doesn't always. And I have filmed a bunch of videos and then they needed editing and they never made it up because I just couldn't face that. So anyway, we have to remember that. There's a lot of curating that goes on. And again, it's really, I admire those who do it and show up regularly and share freely your knowledge and your passion about tarot and oracle. I think it's so great. Whether you sometimes have a good day and, you know, you put up something brilliant, or you have a little rant and then you get a lot of negative feedback and it makes ripples in the community. I mean, at least you're showing up, right? You're showing up. And as long as we're doing it with good intentions and a good heart, right? And remembering that, you know, it's all about love. It's all about love and passion. This thing, this obsession that many of us have with cards and oracle, right? It comes from a loving, passionate place, and that we're human and we're messy. but to just try to always bring it back to that, you know. And when we screw up, you know, apologize. As Benebell said, she's apologized for certain things, and I hope that I will do the same if I get crummy feedback on this. So yeah, I will. So there's that. Being real and messy. That's all about being real and messy. That's human. That's life. And all I would add to all of that is, yeah, and let's remember that that's what it is to live in community. I was so lucky that in my 20s, I landed down here in the New York metro area, and I wandered into this church. I wandered into a church, my friends, and I'm still a member of that place. And it was such a cool, progressive place. And there were two ministers at that church, a female minister and a male minister. And from them, I learned what it is to live in community, that it's a brave thing and it's a messy thing. And, you know, no matter what kind of community it is, whether it's a Christian community or whether it's a Buddhist community or whether it's a tarot community, right? To live in community, it's a commitment. It's a commitment, and we have to remember that, and this was the motto at this place, because you are here, you are welcome. That was the motto. We had it like on our bulletins and on the front board on the, you know, out on the street. Because you are here, you are welcome. And we tried super hard to just let all the normal barriers that exist, you know, like, where are you from? What are you doing? How much money? And what color are you? We tried to just, like, that wasn't supposed to be part of the program. It was like, you show up here, oh, welcome, welcome. And that's beautiful. And I try to live that way, and I fall down a lot, but it's just a great thing to remember. Being in community. Okay. I talked about that we don't have great role models here in the U.S., yada, yada. We have a lot of negative stuff swirling around us, and it infects us. It infects us, that whole thing. The constant fighting and the sides and the blah, blah, and what's going to happen to the debt ceiling by June 1st. My word. It's very stressful. And, you know, we need to check ourselves on all of that. We need to check. And I think that's why a lot of us come here to this space. We need something outside of all that, right? And we try not to talk, God forbid, let's not talk about politics here, right? I'm trying not to very hard, but I'm not doing a very good job. But, you know, if you're an adult living anywhere on the planet, you know, most of us pay some attention to that because it will eventually affect our lives in some ways. And when that energy is so intense, it spills over. It spills over. So it's something to be mindful of, she says, trying to breathe deeply and telling herself, be mindful. Don't bring your political angst anymore into this video, Donna. Shut up and move on. Okay, thank you, I will. Forgiveness. She said beautiful things about forgiveness. Starting at 10 minutes into the video, if you want to know. And it was just wonderful. Let me read my notes here. Social media doesn't allow for true forgiveness in 2D. And she talked about she said that. Okay, here's what I want to say to that. I think she used the word perfection, or maybe this was my whole thing. But what I heard in this section was like a struggle with perfectionism. And maybe I'm totally projecting because I struggle with perfectionism. But that's what I heard here. I am trying to stare down my own nasty little perfectionist because that little being, that little part of me, that shadow, is why I haven't been here for a couple months, because I don't want to come on and piss anybody off. I don't want to make a mediocre video. I don't want to just come on and do another tag. I love tags. I watch tags all the time. But some little perfectionist part of me says, well, that's not good enough. You should come on and talk about more deep things than the latest tarot tag. It's perfectionism, right? It stalks many of us, most of us, I really think. So something to be mindful of. And she mentioned how the perfect echo chamber is what we all really want on social media. We want to go somewhere where everybody thinks like us and says the right things or makes us feel good. And then we can just keep our little illusions of what we believe. Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And we want that in many ways. Again, I would argue across culture, I think that's a lot of what's happening. Because there are too many frightening things going on. There are too many institutions breaking down right now. There's so many natural disasters all the time. It's frightening. And so we just want to be with our tribe, whatever our tribe is, whether it's people of the same race or people who do tarot and oracle, right? And we need some sense of normalcy and, sanity. And so again, let us just be mindful that like we bring that here too. We bring that part of our humanness with us here to Tarot Tube. And for me, it's just it's another reason to just cut people some slack and be kind, be thoughtful. If you want to leave a comment, be thoughtful. Try to say something that's gonna help in some way. Take a breath. I don't know that, it sounds cliche, but there's so much heaviness right now, right? Like this is really the crux of it for me. There is so much, we are here to hold the light. I think when a lot of us seem to get testy here in the community, there's a lot of this like, well, that's not spiritual, or she's demonic, or blah, 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 right? What is that all about? The root of that is we know in the deep part of ourselves that we are here on the planet right now to hold the light, And we also know that that is increasingly difficult to do. There are many demands on our time, on our physical bodies, on our energetic bodies, just on our patience for nonsense, on our patience for, wanting to hear what we want to hear and wanting to have what we want to have. But it all comes back to light. It all comes back to light. How do you hold the light? How do you keep your vibe good? It doesn't mean you don't talk about anything difficult. You don't talk about anything dark and murky. You don't talk about capitalism. That's what was great about Mistress Ray's video in a lot of ways, although I disagreed with a lot of what she had to say. And that's why I don't even think I commented. I'm not sure. I might have commented on some other people's comments, and I liked a bunch of things, but I could see like, ooh, there's going to be a lot of flame there. There's going to be a lot of heat, and I didn't want to add to it. And I wanted to like kind of sit with myself, because I'm only here in this community to be of service. I'm human, I'm messy, I got my own issues too, but I'm trying really hard not to just throw them on all of you guys and add to the mess. I am, even with making this video. I'm gonna be checking it out. I may have to edit a little bit. We'll see how it goes. But like, this is coming from my heart. I'm trying to add something good. I'm trying to add something really good here, and just trying to help, to be of service. So anyway, all right, where am I at? Am I almost done? I've got pages of notes. Oh my God, I can't do all this. All right, let's speed read through my notes. Perception of being insensitive, tone. She talked a lot about her tone. I've been accused of that too. Okay, I do want to speak to this, the tone thing. All right, I'll just read what I wrote. I took time to write a lot of this. I'm going to read it. So I've been accused of this my whole life. As a frog suddenly enters my voice. Interesting. Coincidence? I don't think so. My whole life. So this hits a real nerve for me. It may just be my voice with, along with something about my resting bitch face. When I'm mad at you, you will know. I'm very good at that. And it's also just like my chubby cheeks that I got from my dad. And if I'm just thinking really hard and looking at you, people can think like, oh my God, she's judging me. Oh, no. But I totally get that. It's a hard thing. People who don't have that, they just like don't piss people off. It's hard for you to understand, but like, I get that, Benebell. People get triggered. For me, like, I think for her, it's probably, you know, she's trained as a lawyer. You know, she's trained to be very calm and think clearly, and, you know, she's articulate, she's brilliant. And that can trigger people. People are intimidated by intelligent people. For me, a lot of the times, I think it's my theater training. I open my mouth when I go certain parts of the country or when I travel in Canada. Like, I open my mouth and immediately people know, like, she's not from around here, you know? And people just are like, what's her deal? You know, so I'm super sensitive to that. What else did I write? I had so many insights about this perception of insensitivity and tone. But it may be something else entirely going on here. And I would like to suggest, what did I write? I remember this was cool. Let me read this. I would like to suggest that it's that we in the Tarot Tube community, we're all highly sensitive. That's where I'm going with this. We are, we're here because we're spiritual beings. Again, right? We are on a different path than a lot of humanity. We can't forget that, right? And we care really deeply about so many things. And we are, you know, so many things. And we are, what is this? We're turning on ourselves. I'm afraid that I'm worried that we're turning on ourselves, you know, out of anguish and pain and just the PTSD that's going around, to be a human, to witness all the crimes of humanity, the crimes against the earth, right? It's hard to witness that every day. So again, sometimes certain people are just, you know, we're misinterpreted. Some people that have the best of intentions can be thought of as, you know, looking down on people and no, thinking they're better than people. And God forbid. And God forbid, as a woman or as a minority, that you think you're better than anyone. God forbid, right? I noticed a lot of comments about, you know, addressing Benebell and saying, you know, it sounds like racism to me. It sounds like sexism to me. I would agree with that, okay? Let us not forget that. And oftentimes, women can be the hardest on women. We get caught up in the whole patriarchy thing, and we need to watch that. I'm certainly have been guilty of that in the past too, and I've been a real victim of that. I've had my heart absolutely broken by women that I adored and had to move on and move them out of my life. That's a topic for another time. But anyway, that's what I have to say about that. So then towards the end, she talked about, should I shut up or should I show up? Well, you should definitely keep showing up. And that was like unanimous in the comments that I saw. And I'm sure you will, Benebell. You are a strong, brilliant woman and you are needed in this community. And you motivated me to get off my butt and finally get back on my own channel and say a few things. But that is the big dilemma for all of us right now, right? It's just like this tightrope that we walk. Do I just shut up? Do I just zip it? Or do I say what I really think and risk that it's not going to come out quite right and people are going to destroy me and they're going to leave me negative comments or whatever? Even just, you know, you're in the supermarket and you know, say something and then, you know, whatever. It's the dilemma. Like, do we just keep quiet and just keep to ourselves and, you know, everything's not so bad for me, so let's not rock the boat. That's the big dilemma right now. It's a hard one. It is a hard one for all of us. I don't know. What did I write? Did I have anything brilliant to say? It's the empath HSP conundrum for me. It has to do with sensitivity and the sad reality. She mentioned the sad reality of human affairs. Yes, absolutely. And, you know, those of us who can, we try, we donate time, money, and yeah, I get it. Me too. And yet it can feel like never enough. Yeah. What is enough? That's the big question. What is enough for any of us right now? That's a whole other video. I should tackle that one because I struggle with that one too. But anyway, I hear you on that. Okay, shadow work. So Benebell's saying from her vantage point, she tries so hard to be sensitive to all the something. I can't read my own writing. Feels like it's never enough. Yeah, me too. I already said that. And then, so here's what I wrote about that, the shadow work stuff. You know, again, that to me, that comes back to perfectionism. It's perfectionism, right? Is it never enough? No. There's my answer. I was no. Of course it's enough. Like, if you show up and you try and you give, that's got to be enough. And you get to say what's enough. I get to say what's enough. We each get to say, look, I did my best in that moment. You know, as Mixer Sway said, I turn on the camera and I process things out loud. That's what I'm doing right now, okay? And I'm probably not going to edit this. You know, we get to say, look, it's good enough. It's good enough. I had something to say. I was passionate. I wanted to add my voice. I tried my best. You can give me feedback. I can agree or disagree, but like, there has to be enough. Otherwise, we are a slave to perfectionism, and that's a demon on our back that none of us want. And that's also the patriarchy, constantly stalking us, particularly those of us who identify as women or sensitives, I believe. You can disagree with that, but that's what I believe. And also those who identify as artists and creatives. Perfectionism will stop us in our tracks. It will keep us from making art. It will keep us from making videos. It will keep us from just taking some downtime to hang out with TarotTube because, like, we don't want to do one more damn thing today, and I want to hear what Benebell has to say. I want to see what's going on Sadhana's channel. I want to try to learn a new deck. I want to be part of Tarot Stash's live and just I love Tarot Stash. That's a whole nother matter. I love the humor and yet the depth that he and his guests bring to this community. And that's sort of what I am trying to do here. I've been inspired by Gerald from the word go. He's the first one I reached out to. He generously had me on a couple lives with him. You know, how do we do that? How do we balance deep spiritual work with just trying to have a hobby as adult humans in a fucked up world right now? How do we do that? This is what I think. It's all about the yin and the yang, the comedy and the tragedy. We just have to be willing. I'm a Libra, so I do this a lot. I balance the scales a lot. I'm a double Libra, actually. We have to be willing to just do that dance all the time. And when somebody goes way into tragedy, we have to remember that, like, that's what we do as humans. We are flawed. We are dramatic. We like to fight. We haven't figured out that war doesn't work yet, not on the planet, not anywhere, not in our families, not in our TarotTube communities. It's just sort of what we do. And we are just all walking each other home, picking each other up and saying, like, it's okay, take a breath, dust yourself off, c'est la vie, the yin and the yang, the comedy and the tragedy. I think that's enough. I don't know. Okay, here's my little summary. She mentioned all her free content. I had no idea I had so much free content. I will be checking that out and I will be taking advantage of that. So in advance, thank you so much. That is very generous. So at the end, she's like, I don't know what to do. You know, I've told you a bunch of things and here I've laid it all out. Like, I don't know, you know, you guys like to tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. Okay, so I wrote a few things. She's so worried about, she's insincere in her communication. No, I don't find you that way, but I get that, like, I get it. Like, I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, people are gonna think, oh my God, who is this woman? Oh, she thinks she blah, 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 blah. I get it. So here's my advice to you, and it's also to myself. Just be yourself. That's what I am trying to do right here. We just do our best, be ourselves. And some days our self is going to look like this and sound like this, and the next day it's going to sound a little different, and we have to just be okay with that. Glasses on, glasses off. It's me. Sorry. I'm not ready for bifocals, but I can't see my book if I don't put my glasses on. What do you want from me? I'm trying. I'm putting my feet up on the desk. Okay, I'm almost done. If you guys are still with me, you're awesome. Oh my God, it's almost 50 minutes. So be yourself, honor yourself. You know, it's not just about being yourself. We have to honor ourselves. We have to just honor, like, okay, I'm a little, you know, I can be a handful some days. I'm a little quirky. I'm a little kooky. People think I'm highfalutin, whatever. But honor yourself. That's all I would offer. Just make sure you're honoring yourself enough, Benebell. You're brilliant and you are generous and you offer a lot to this community. That's for sure. That's not up for arguments. So, you know, forget all the other petty comments. Turn to your trusted circle of peeps when you need feedback or support. You know, that's a reminder. Like, okay, yeah, we leave the comments on. People can comment. It's this cool forum, you know, YouTube. But like, when push comes to shove, we want to ask those who we really care about, love and respect. Like, was that too bitchy? What slime am I getting on? You know, just go to your peeps. Don't, you know, you're going to have to let a lot of the other stuff go. And look for the comedy everywhere. That's my ultimate. I think that's my closing. This is why I'm like letting it rip, and I may just put this up once I listen to it. Just bring in the comedy. I loved your little joke. Like, I loved your I'm not even a vegetarian joke. That just made me howl. Like, you know, it's like, I'm not even a vegetarian. I don't claim to be a guru. I still eat meat. Let's just keep it real, you know? And we're doing that. We're all doing it. And we're doing it in our own way. And it'll look different day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. That's all we can do. So, deep bow. Thank you guys. Thank you all for showing up. Deep bow to Benebell, to all our wonderful content creators that are also teachers and authors and host lives and interview people. I salute you. I get so much from all of you. And listen, my intention for this community, for my channel here, is I want to interview people. I want to talk about what it is to be an artist and an oracle. So if you are interested in coming on, reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation. Many blessings to all of you. Take good care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. Look after each other. Be well. Namaste.